Here's something most freelancers don't realize until it's almost too late. If you're self-employed and 50 or older, the IRS now lets you shelter more money from taxes than almost any W-2 employee on the planet. In 2026, a freelancer using a solo 401k can contribute up to $70,000 in total. And if you're between 60 and 63, Secure 2.0 adds a super catch-up on top of that. According to a 2024 Federal Reserve report, 37% of self-employed workers have no retirement savings at all. No judgment. But that gap is exactly what this video closes. By the end, you'll know which accounts to open, in what order, and exactly how much you can shelter in 2026. No employer match required. The retirement gap freelancers actually face. Let's start with the real problem. When you work for an employer, retirement is partly automatic. They enroll you, they match a percentage, and the money moves before you see it. When you're self-employed, none of that exists. Every dollar saved is a deliberate choice you have to make, usually during tax season when you're already overwhelmed. That's not a character flaw, that's a structural disadvantage, and it shows up in the data. Vanguard's 2024 How America Saves report found that the median 401k balance for workers in their 50s is just over $87,000. For freelancers with no workplace plan, the median is far lower, and the gap widens every year you delay. Here's the critical context. $87,000 at age 55, growing at a 7% annual return, reaches roughly $170,000 by 65. Most financial planners use a 25x annual expense rule for retirement readiness. If your annual expenses are $50,000, you need $1.25 million. That's the size of the hill you're actually climbing. My take is simple. The best time to fix this was years ago. The second best time is today, using every self-employed account advantage the IRS has written into the code, and there are more of them than most people know. Which self-employed retirement account is actually right for you? There are 3 accounts you need to understand: the SEP-IRA, the solo 401k, and the simple IRA. Here's the honest ranking. For most freelancers trying to catch up, the solo 401k wins. Full stop. Here's why. A SEP-IRA lets you contribute up to 25% of net self-employment income, capped at $70,000 in 2026. That sounds generous, and it is if your income is high, but the catch is that your contribution is locked to that 25% formula. If you earned $40,000 net from freelance work, your SEP-IRA max is $10,000. There's no employee elective deferral component. No Roth option inside the SEP. A solo 401k, also called an individual 401k or self-employed 401k, has 2 separate contribution buckets. First, the employee elective deferral. In 2026, that's $23,500. Second, the employer profit-sharing contribution, up to 25% of net self-employment compensation. Combined, total contributions can reach $70,000. The critical difference is that even on a moderate income year, you can still max out the $23,500 elective deferral. A freelancer earning $40,000 net can contribute $23,500 plus a profit-sharing piece, far more than the SEP-IRA allows at that income level. Your specific numbers depend on your net self-employment income, so run this with your actual figures. The simple IRA has a 2026 employee limit of $16,500. It's designed for small employers with staff. If it's just you, it's the weakest of the 3. Skip it. The right move for a solo freelancer with no employees: open a solo 401k. Do it before December 31st of the tax year you want contributions to count. That's the hard deadline for the plan to exist, even if you fund it later. 2026 contribution limits and the Secure 2.0 super catch-up. Here's where the rules get genuinely exciting, especially if you're 50 or older. Standard catch-up contributions for ages 50 and up add $7,500 to the solo 401k elective deferral in 2026. That brings the employee deferral to $31,000. Combined with the 25% profit sharing piece, your theoretical max climbs above $70,000 at most income levels. But Secure 2.0, signed into law in late 2022 and fully phased in by 2025, introduced a super catch-up for workers aged 60, 61, 62, and 63. The IRS confirmed that for 2026, this super catch-up amount is $11,250 instead of the standard $7,500. That means your employee elective deferral cap at ages 60 through 63 is $23,500 plus $11,250, totaling $34,750 in the employee deferral bucket alone before any profit sharing contribution. If you are in that 4-year window right now, this is the single most powerful catch-up tool available to any American worker, employed or self-employed. Once you turn 64, the super catch-up reverts to the standard $7,500 figure. The window is real and it's narrow. If you're between 60 and 63 in 2026, this is the year to contribute as aggressively as your cash flow allows. One important variation, your contribution capacity depends entirely on your net self-employment income. You cannot contribute more than you earned. If you had a down year, the math changes. But the structure of the account means you take every dollar of elective deferral available first, because that's not income formula limited, and add profit sharing on top as income allows. Solo 401k vs SEP-IRA, the math that actually matters. I focus on the financial side of freelance and gig work, and the question I hear most often is, does it really matter which account I use? Let's run the real numbers so this is concrete. Assume a freelancer, call her Maya, earns $80,000 in net self-employment income in 2026. She's 61 years old. She wants to maximize retirement contributions. Under a SEP-IRA, her max is 25% of net SE income after the SE tax deduction. That works out to roughly $14,130. She gets no Roth option. No catch-up provision applies to SEP-IRAs. Under a solo 401k, Maya contributes $34,750 in employee deferrals. That's the super catch-up total for her age bracket. She adds a profit-sharing contribution on top, calculated at roughly 20% of net SE income after the SE tax deduction, approximately $15,300. Her total contribution, around $50,050 in a single year. The difference is $35,920 more sheltered from taxes in 2026 alone. At Maya's income, if she's in the 22% federal bracket, that's nearly $7,900 in federal taxes she's deferring this year. State income taxes add more savings depending on where she lives. The math is clear. For a freelancer 50 and older with moderate to strong income, the solo 401k beats the SEP-IRA in almost every scenario. The only exception, if you have employees other than a spouse, a solo 401k is no longer available. That's the one structural limitation. Roth conversions and the backdoor strategy for high earners. Now let's talk about the Roth layer, because not all of this has to stay tax deferred. A pre-tax solo 401k lowers your bill today. But if you expect to be in a higher bracket in retirement, or if you want tax-free growth, a Roth Solo 401k is available from most major custodians, and contributions get the same limits. Here's my default recommendation. If your net freelance income puts you in the 22% bracket or below, contribute to the Roth version of your solo 401k. You're paying tax at a relatively low rate now, and every dollar grows tax-free. If you're in the 24% bracket or higher, the traditional pre-tax version delivers more immediate value. But consider doing partial Roth conversions in low-income years to manage your future tax exposure. For high earners, who also want a Roth IRA, the 2026 Roth IRA direct contribution phase-out starts at $150,000 for single filers and $236,000 for married filing jointly per IRS guidance. If you're above those thresholds, the backdoor Roth strategy still works. You make a non-deductible traditional IRA contribution, $7,000 in 2026 or $8,000 if you're 50 or older, then convert it to Roth. The pro rata rule matters here if you have pre-tax IRA balances elsewhere. Your specific tax situation changes the calculus on this, so model it before executing. But for most freelancers without existing pre-tax IRA funds, the backdoor Roth is a clean, legal move the IRS has never challenged. The bottom line, use the Roth layer when your current rate is low. Use the traditional layer when your income is high enough that the deduction has serious near-term value. Don't leave either option on the table. Your 2026 retirement action checklist. Let's close with the actual moves, not concepts, actions. First, open a solo 401k if you don't have one. Do it before December 31st, 2026. Fidelity and Schwab both offer no-fee solo 401k plans. The setup takes about 20 minutes online. Second, maximize the employee elective deferral first. In 2026, that's $23,500 standard, $31,000 if you're 50 to 59 or 64 and up, and $34,750 if you're 60 to 63. Make this your first funding priority. It's not income formula dependent. Third, add the profit sharing contribution on top. This is calculated as roughly 20% of your net self-employment income after the SE tax deduction. Do this at tax time when your final net income is known. Fourth, if your income this year is lower than expected, consider converting some pre-tax solo 401k or traditional IRA funds to Roth. A low-income year is a tax gift. Use it. Fifth, automate quarterly contributions if your income is consistent. According to a Fidelity 2023 retirement study, investors who automate contributions accumulate 2.5 times more than those who make lump sum decisions at year end. You don't need to be disciplined. You need to remove the decision from your schedule. According to the IRS, the deadline to fund a solo 401k employee deferral is December 31st of the contribution year. Employer profit sharing contributions can be made up to your tax filing deadline, including extensions. That gives you until October 15th of the following year if you file an extension. Use that window. The game plan is solo 401k first, Roth conversion second when the math favors it, backdoor Roth IRA third if you're eligible. Execute in that order every year. Stay consistent and the compounding does the rest. I'm not a licensed CPA or financial advisor. This is general education for freelancers, not personalized advice. If this gave you a clearer picture of your retirement options, subscribe. New freelance finance breakdowns drop every week. Got a specific tax or retirement question you want me to dig into? Drop it in the comments. I read every one and it shapes what I cover next. Next week, we're looking at something that catches a lot of gig workers completely off guard. The IRS may owe you up to $25,000 if you receive tips in your work, and most people have no idea how to claim it. That's coming next week. Don't miss it. This video may contain affiliate links. I only recommend tools I use personally.